Us one headline about what you think your biggest accomplishment will have been in year number one.
Rent down, comma, crime down, comma, education scores up, comma, more jobs in New York City.
Now we're getting maybe a little over the average headline length, but
optimism high.
Curtis Sliwa exceeds all expectations and looks very mayoral tonight.
Mamdani continues to take on Trump, delivers on affordability agenda for New Yorkers.
You said was totally false, as you know.
Which part was false?
I was governor for 11 years. The budget is double what it is in New York City, and I got government to work. I passed groundbreaking laws, minimum wage, paid family leave, built projects that had never been built before. This is no job for on-the-job training.
I have the experience of being a New Yorker, someone who has actually paid rent in the city before I ran for mayor, someone who has had to wait for a bus that never came, someone who actually buys his groceries in this same city. And what all of that experience has shown me, which Mr. Cuomo can't seem to understand, is that it is far too expensive and far too hard for New Yorkers to afford to live in this city. And the definition of experience is not doing the same thing again and again and hoping for a different result. That's actually the definition of insanity.
Thank God I'm not a professional politician, because they have helped create this crime crisis in this city that we face, and I will
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
What would you say in your first official call with the president to set the tone for your relationship moving forward?
I would make it clear to the president that I am willing to not only speak to him, but to work with him if it means delivering on lowering the cost of living for New Yorkers. That's something that he ran his presidential campaign on, and yet all he's been able to deliver thus far has been prosecuting his political enemies and trying to enact the largest deportation program in American history. And what distinguishes me from Andrew Cuomo is the fact that he has gotten on the phone with that same president, not asking him how to work together to help New Yorkers, or not telling him that he would refuse to back down to protect those New Yorkers, but instead asking him how to win this race. That's something I can do myself. I don't need the president's assistance for. And what I'd tell the president is if he ever wants to come for New Yorkers in the way that he has been, he's going to have to get through me as the next mayor of this city.
We have Andrew Cuomo. We have Zohran Mamdani. They want to take on Donald Trump. Look, you can be tough, but you can't be tough if it's going to cost people desperately needed federal funds.
I fought Donald Trump. He investigated me repeatedly with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice Inspector General said that it was actually politically motivated. That does not back me up. When I'm fighting for New York, I am not going to stop. And I'll tell you something else. If the Assemblyman is elected mayor, Donald Trump will take over New York City, and it will be Mayor Trump who runs New York City.
We have to move
out of this.
I'm sorry.
It's a debate of three. Excuse me, Andrew. It's a debate of three. Do we acknowledge?
I, like many New Yorkers, am hopeful that this ceasefire will hold. I'm hopeful that it is durable. I'm hopeful that it is just. And for it to be just, we also have to ensure that it addresses the conditions that preceded this, conditions like occupation, like the siege, and apartheid. And that is what I'm hopeful for.
But you seem, Zohran, to be incapable of praising our president. And Andrew, you were incapable of praising our president.
Gentlemen, we have
Give credit where credit is due. He's brought peace to Gaza.
Yeah, gentlemen, we want to hear everything you have to say. We have other questions.
I did applaud President Trump and his administration. I think it was a great accomplishment. I hope the peace holds. The Assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The Assemblyman will not denounce Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The Assemblyman just said in his response, well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the sea.
Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
Before you were ever here. They were
before I was here.
Before you.
If you were going to send the National Guard, you don't need to send them to New York City. There are other cities that could desperately use their help in dealing with their crime crisis.
We do not need them for the purpose of safety, because if it was safety that President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country, but he won't, because they're all run by Republicans.
He's not sending in the National Guard to do any real function. It's control, it's power. He's trying to say these Democrats don't know how to run these cities, and it's a political gesture by sending in the National Guard.
You're not going to stand up to Donald
thank you.
Trump.
Thank you.
I agree with Curtis.
You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
Okay.
And he
Listen.
can't stand up to Donald Trump, who knocked
we have
him
a-
right
we have
on
a
his
follow-up.
tuchus.
We have a
Can I-
You
follow-up.
negotiate with him. You don't
Okay,
fight
Mr.
with him
Sliwa,
because
thank you.
only the people of New York City will lose.
we
Andrew.
do have a
Stand up
follow-up.
to negotiate.
We have a follow-up.
I'd like to see a show of hands. Are there any circumstances where any of you would allow the NYPD to cooperate with the National Guard if Trump sent them to New York? Show of hands. Yes? No takers. Okay.
The law is the law, and I would have an attorney assigned to every person who is undergoing any review by the federal government or any legal proceeding, and put the full weight of the city government behind it, and make sure they are legally protected.
We need to protect the migrants who are workers, who are essential workers, and use ICE to go after the drug dealers, the gangbangers, the sexual predators, and those who are sex trafficking and involved in narco-terrorism.
I would be proud to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations. And it's at 26 Federal Plaza that I've seen what used to be moments when New Yorkers would be getting their citizenship turn into moments of tragedy, where judges are asking New Yorkers who are there for a routine immigration check-in whether they're prepared to leave in the very same clothes that they arrived to that courthouse. I agree that we need more legal representation. I also think we need to actually be able to stand up to Donald Trump.
There's a lot of ground covered. We'll leave it on that light note. Thank you, candidates, for a spirited debate. We thank you as well. We hope you got a lot out of it, New York City viewers, New York City voters.